Well, hello there everybody, and welcome to The Legend of Grimrock 2! This is a game that I've been waiting for so very long. I played the last one, the first game in this series, maybe 2 years ago. I'm not good with time. I've never been good with time, and I played a lot of custom dungeons, the Mines of Malenval, and all sorts of just fun stuff. I loved that game. It was, if you've never played The Legend of Grimrock, it's a game based off stuff like Eye of the Beholder and Dungeon Master. Some really old dungeon crawl games. Like, a lot of them were isometric. They were 3D, pseudo 3D, and they were a lot about exploring and puzzles, and it was a big part of my childhood, and I got to play The Legend of Grimrock, the first one, and it was great, and I had a few issues with it. Mostly just the lack of environments, and that kind of carried over to some of the custom dungeons, but I don't think that's going to be a complaint here. I can already see that we're looking like we're going to be on an island, so hopefully we're not stuck inside of a dungeon in the mountain on the island, so we're going to be doing pretty good already. Now, another thing that is very important to note is that the custom dungeon editor is already released. Now, there was a custom dungeon editor for the original Legend of Grimrock, but it came very late, relatively, in the game's life cycle. Now, with our modern day stuff, the earlier you can get custom content out, the better it basically is for the game's life. And it did help a lot, but I think it being out on release and already having a Steam Workshop on release is going to be a massive boon to not just the replayability of the game, but for just the general, like, amount of just hype and people getting into it there is. It's also really great to see a developer actually improve on a game series. It's something that doesn't happen as much these days as we would like. A lot of games get stuck in this rut where they just don't improve. And I've talked to the developers a bit. They were really big fans of my previous Let's Play. I don't know why. I can't imagine why, but they were. And I know a little bit about the game. I've looked at the dungeon editor, and I've looked at a few of the things, and I gotta say that most of my complaints, it seems like they have corrected, which is amazing. It's a beauty to see. So let's start up our new game. We do have two new options that weren't in the previous game, but let's start at the top. We have create characters, where we can create our own characters that aren't predetermined in a party, whatever. We're gonna do that. We're gonna make our own characters. Now, next up we have old school mode, which turns off auto mapping. No, I played Ultima when I was little. I played the I have journals filled with the ways that you have to get the runes and the different dungeons and the different princes you have to rescue to get the motherfucking spaceship. I'm not writing journals for video games anymore, for my own personal use. The next up we have Iron Man mode, which means you can only save at healing crystals. Very neat idea. Not gonna be doing it. It will limit the control I have over when I can start and stop the Let's Plays, and that's not a good thing for me. Next up we have single-use crystals, where healing crystals can be used only once. Second thing we're not going to be using. So the only thing we're going to end up using is create characters. I can also say that the Iron Man and single-use together would be an unholy combo of massive difficulty. We're also going to be doing it on normal. It scales the monster's damage, speed, and aggressiveness in combat. Normal, I just want to see what the game is by itself without anything fancy on top of it. So, without further ado, let's get into our character creation. Alright, so as you can see on the side, we already have a few new things that weren't in the previous game, and I'm not counting these character portraits either, which look very, very nice, but not the point. Now, we have alchemy as a skill. I don't know if this requires you to actually have to have this to make potions, but actually having it gives you a lot better brewing. Wow, it lets you brew potions better. The 4th skill level, you brew stronger healing and energy potions. And the 5th skill level, when you craft bombs, you get 3 bombs instead of 1, which is just is amazing to me. Athletics now is for health and carry weight. Concentration is increased energy, so mana, and the regeneration rate of said mana while you're resting. You have light weapons, which is, I'm assuming, just your daggers and swords. Heavy weapons, missile weapons, your bow, stuff like that, throwing. And the new one that's caught my eye, and I'm assuming it's caught the eye of many people, is firearms. Firearms, that just sounds badass. Next we have accuracy, critical, armor, dodge, and your typical array of fire, air, earth, and water magic. We don't have ice magic this time, we have water magic, but at the 5th skill level you gain cold resist, so I'm assuming that water magic is just cold, ice magic, just with a different name. Now, one of the other things that we have new here is we have different traits for every race, and a new race even, called Ratlings, but we'll go over that one by one. Humans gain experience 10% faster, sectoids higher strength, lower dex, lower vitality, higher willpower, and their chance of getting body parts injured is reduced by 50%. Basically, we're Fallout now. Next up we have Lizardmen, who have higher dex and lower willpower, and pretty good resists all around. Next we have Minotaurs with really high strength, really low dex, really high vitality, and really low willpower, and their food consumption rate is increased. And lastly we have the new one, Ratlings, really low strength and pretty okay dex, good evasion, increased max load, and they're immune to disease. That's all really fine and good, so we're probably going to do the 2 in the front, 2 in the back, because that's the way this kind of game rolls, and we're going to put a Minotaur in the front, and we're going to look at the classes real quick. The first up, we have Alchemists. Herbs in their inventory multiply. The growth rate is determined by the number of steps taken, and firearms have a 50% less chance to malfunction. Well, that's just great. Next we have Barbarian, which is what we're going to do, but we'll look at the rest of the classes. Barbarians just have a shit ton of life, really low energy, and +1 strength per level. Next we have Battle Mages, where they can equip armor easier, they can cast spells with the bare hand, and they get 10 protection and 10 all resist when equipped with a staff or an orb. Next we have Farmers, who have really low health and really low energy. They receive no skill points at the first level, and instead of slaying monsters, they gain experience points by eating food. I don't know. I'm not gonna do that. It sounds neat, though. Next we have a Fighter who has pretty decent health, pretty low energy, and their special attacks with melee weapons take half the time to build up and cost 25% less energy. Weapons, and I don't know if guns do, I haven't seen any, they have special attacks now, like thrusting and maybe bleeding. I don't know what the hell they do, but that's what this would help with. Next up we have a Knight, which gives +1 protection per level. The weight of equipped armor is reduced by 50%, and evasion bonus of equipped shields is increased by 50%. Really nice, really neat looking little class. I might actually, actually do the Minotaur with that, but we'll hold off on that. Next we have a Rogue who get a dual wielding bonus. Instead, they suffer less of a dual wielding penalty, and they gain a +1% chance to crit per level with missile or throwing weapons. And then we have our regular mage. Mediocre health, really good energy, +2 willpower, and they can cast spells with their bare hands. I think I'm going to go with the Barbarian Minotaur. Max out the strength, max out the vitality. Let's put a point into heavy weapons and armor. Reason for it is because he's going to be tanky, he's going to be hitting hard, and I think that's going to be for the best. Now, we do have traits again in this game. We do have character-specific traits like Headhunter, which gives +1 strength for each skull carried. This is Minotaur-specific. Very nice, very nice. We also have Rage, which is Minotaur-specific, which gives you 10 increased strength when you have less than 20% health remaining. This is playing a little bit more on the edge than I want to. I'm not a lucky person, so I'm not going to risk that. Now, the rest of these are stuff like increased fire resist, or +2 strength, or flat protection, and poison resist. Some of them give flat amount of health, some of them give the health stat, but what we're going to be going for is accuracy on this guy. He has -8 accuracy by default, and this puts us at -1. We're still going to have some pretty shitty accuracy, but it lets us get a lot more health instead of having to dump points into dexterity, which doesn't do anything for us. I figured it's a good thing, so we have really high strength, pretty fucking baller vitality, to be honest. Because if we were to try to get 8 accuracy, we'd have to put like that up to 11. That's just way too much. I would rather just have a lot more health. So that's just me. Whatever. So I'm gonna be Paticus. I'm going to be the Minotaur just because. Next up, we're going to add ourselves a Lizard Man Rogue. The reason because the Lizard Men get +2 dexterity, and light weapons get a lot of bonuses from, well, dexterity. So we're going to max out dex for the damage. It doesn't show damage down here, but when we get in game, I think it's going to help, because I've just read a few things on this, so I'm just kind of going off that. And we're going to put some points in vitality. We don't need much strength. He's not going to be carrying much. And we're going to make you... I like this one. You're going to be... Mike the Yoshi. By the way, guys, I just want to mention this game is blind. I have looked at the character creation a bit and some of the weapons just to kind of get a good idea of me not completely fucking this up. Just so we don't have to deal with that. Now, what we can get is Lizardmen get 3 bonuses. They can get fast metabolism, where they get additional healing, additional effects from healing potions. They eat food, they need more food, and they gain health and energy faster. We actually are going to grab that. And we also can get Endure Elements, which gives them even higher resist to the elements, or Poison Immunity. I actually think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Agility for +2 Strength. It's going to give him a lot, I think that's going to help with a lot enough damage. Or... I don't know, actually, I could go with accuracy, but his accuracy is already retardedly high. I might actually go with the Endure of the Element, so he can tank a bit. Tank a bit of magic shit. I'm going to give him crits as well, just because. It seems like a good thing. Now we get to our backline people. Now, with this one, I'm actually going to go with a Ratling Alchemist. Now, the reason for that is because the Ratlings do, it does say they're good with mechanical shit, so I figured why not. They can also carry a lot, and honestly, I feel like we do need an Alchemist. So we're going to grab Alchemy and Firearms. We're going to pump up all the points into Dexterity, because from what I've seen and heard, Dexterity helps with the long-ranged combat, and we'll put some points in Vitality. Now, for his traits, Ratlings only get 1 unique trait that they can get, and that's Mutation, where they get randomly 1 increase in their attributes per level, so might as well grab that. And then accuracy, I don't know if it affects, yeah, because that accuracy there only affects melee weapons, so that's not a thing we're going to be getting. Strong Mind, Willpower, he's not a magic guy. I think I'm going to get Endurance here, which increases your carry weight by 25 kilograms, and your food consumption rate is decreased. These two here, the Lizard Man and the Minotaur, are going to be eating us out of house at home. So him not eating much is probably going to help a lot. And last but not least, we're going to have ourselves a human wizard. Or witch, whatever. We're going to pump up all the points into willpower because you get more energy per level depending on how much willpower you have when you level. So it's not retroactive. You have to have the willpower when you level. So with that in mind, we're going to get Strong Mind so we can get 19 willpower, and then pump some points into Vitality. And then for the other trait, we have the choice between either 10% increase in experience gain on top of the 10% that we get normally, or 1 extra skill point. I think the Fast Learner is going to be more long-term solution, so we get 20% more experience. So for every 5 levels that all the other characters get, he's going to get another level on top of that. At least I think that's how math works. I could be wrong on that. But now we're going to put 1 point into Fire Magic and 1 point into Concentration, just so we can get even more energy on top of everything else. And for this one, we are going to make you Noluri, and we're going to make you Smugley, because that was a name I feel like was very appropriate for this guy. I wanted to be honest, I wanted to include a lizard, or an insectoid in on this, because we've always had an insectoid, and I've always called him Von Penis Head, but there is no Von Penis Head icon anymore, and I could do custom portraits. I actually did look into doing that, but I've decided against it, just for now. Maybe in the future when I do custom dungeons, I might do that, but for now, I'm not going to. But let's get right on into this and see what we can get going on in the game.